Okay, welcome back to another week of Agent Tactics. I've had week after week after week with different individuals talking about YouTube. So I figured, why don't we just get them all on the same call and ask all the questions that you have about YouTube and kind of do a panel. I've got Sean Jardine out of Phoenix, Arizona. She's really unique because she doesn't work just Phoenix 55 and over, but she does Tucson, she does the other markets, and she only focuses on her YouTube channel on 55 and over, and she crushes it on her way to being a lead agent with Real. So I'm really excited. If not already, did you already hit it, Sean?
Um, about the third week of April.
Oh, okay. We're
I've
coming
got plenty in the
close.
pipeline, but I'm close to getting my bro jacket. I can't wait.
Yes. Yes, that's exciting. Okay, awesome. Chase Giles, he's out of Houston, does really a great style YouTube channel. I love it. Does a good amount of business from YouTube. Preston Gale, Houston. He does, or sorry,
Dallas.
Dallas. Whoa, my bad. Woof, my bad.
Come on.
North Dallas area, really great channel, really great community style channel. And then Raj Sahu does not need much introduction. This guy's been crushing the new construction game and is the epitome of what new construction property tours should look like. All four of these young people are amazing and done amazing things. So I'm going to real quick start with Sean just because I can see her first. Sean, you primarily do 45. Yeah, we'll say that. 45 and over communities. What got you started in those communities? And then what are your tips for staying consistent?
Well, first of all, I sell where I'm at. It's always been that way in real estate. When I started this at age 28, 34 years ago, so do the math. I sold to people in their, late 20s, early 30s. I started my channel as everybody did, the pros and cons of Scottsdale, the three best gated communities of Scottsdale. And I saw that my audience was 55 and older. And I thought, wow, I better pivot here and create content for my avatar. And so I did, and it has been life changing to just niche down in that way. Tips for staying consistent. Sometimes I'm not, so I'm going to listen to other people's tips. But really, it's just having a plan and sticking to a plan. And when you do have free time, work on your plan. So, I have a spreadsheet of probably 100 different video titles. And so when I get to where I don't have a plan, I go to the spreadsheet and there's my video.
I love it. That's people always ask me, how do I come up with the titles? If you, I'm driving around the car and a title pops in my head, I'll write it down. It's always a good way to play with it later or then put it into Chat GPT. Okay, how long have you been on YouTube?
Oh, I started my channel in like January of 2020, but I didn't have the guts to post a video until maybe August. So just a few years,
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
long
So
time
you
for this.
figured it out with the rest of us. Okay, so you looked at okay, who's watching my channel? It's 55 and over. Let me make content for them. And then you just started making content. So tell me the business, how much business do you actually get from YouTube? Obviously, we just said that you're about to hit elite with Rio, which means at minimum you got to close to, 28 to 30 deals depending on your market. So that's not even halfway through our year. So,
My business is pretty much 100% YouTube. I kind of get annoyed when it's outside of that scope, just because I love the YouTube clients. I had to go see somebody for a listing the other day, and I left there thinking, I hate this. I don't know why I even went down this road. These are not my people, and I'm going to stay in my lane now. But so far, over 75 million in sales
woo!
directly from YouTube. So it's a lot. And I've done every kind of real estate in my 34 years, open houses, internet leads, cold calling, you name it. I've done it just because in the olden days, before most of you were born, we didn't have technology. We didn't have YouTube. And so we just did what was in front of us. We farmed, and that's how you got business. I wouldn't trade YouTube for anything. If I couldn't do YouTube, I'd be done. I just don't want to go back to the old ways.
I hear you. Raj doesn't even know any of the other ways. He just did a YouTube to start. So,
Uh,
all
Lucky
right,
Raj.
we're gonna come back to you, everybody. If you live in Phoenix, is there anybody? Tell me, are you in Phoenix in the chat, or Scottsdale? If you're one of those markets, Sean and I are actually going to be on stage at what is it called? Reignite next week, on Friday. So was that the 28th? So on the 28th, we're going to be in Phoenix. We're going to be there. And then right after that, we're going to do a happy hour. Sean, I didn't tell you you're invited to the happy hour,
Oh,
but we're doing a
good.
happy hour right after that too. So
Awesome.
if you want to come see us, Gail, reach out to me, DM me, and I'll get you the information on, and that's a free event. All right, Chase, let's get to you, bud. How long have you been in the business? How'd you get into YouTube? And give us the nitty gritty details.
Absolutely. So my name's Chase Giles. I work a very small suburb about 45 minutes north of Houston called The Woodlands, Texas. Super detailed like community. There's a lot of nuance to it. And so YouTube is a way for me to have trust at scale, and be able to talk to people and give them, obviously information about our community. I started making videos in same time, January of 2020, as primarily a listing video for some of our clients during COVID, to help with the, showings and things like that. So people didn't have to clean their house too many times, but it quickly started making videos about moving to living in. And then the trajectory, I started getting a lot of traction. In fact, I actually met yesterday, kind of a soft listing appointment with my very first YouTube client, that came as a buyer that moved from Arizona and is possibly going to be going back to Arizona. So
Oh, wow.
pretty cool there. So very consistent. I'd say I really started kind of doubling down in 2022, to current. So far this year, I've closed 6 deals and have 2 pending just strictly off of YouTube. Last year, I was trying to tally it up real quick. It was about 12. I do about 40 transactions a year. And then selfishly, I'll plug too. I am also about to kind of hit elite agent myself.
You
And
just joined like
so
a week ago, it feels like.
so anyways, I'm excited for the
Wait,
bros
didn't you
swag
just join
to
Real in November?
October. But yeah,
October. Oh my God, that's amazing. That's
so
amazing. So this is not a sales pitch for Real anybody, I swear. What's amazing about the Elite Award is that, for if you give back to the Real community and just for selling, you get 24,000 back in stock. So you have 2 people here who have been crushing it from YouTube. They're going to be hitting Elite very, very soon, who just joined Real. That's amazing. All right, Chase, I don't want to cut you off, but we're going to come back to you because I got to get through 2 more people, and then
yeah,
we're gonna
let's do
field
it.
some questions. Preston, Dallas, give us the same spiel to you, buddy. You got to unmute yourself first, though. Audio, it's
Trying to help you
YouTube.
guys
You got
out.
to
Trying
get
to help you guys
audio for
out.
YouTube. Come on, buddy.
I know I'm the most untech savvy person ever. I've never edited a single video. I don't even know how to upload one. So just FYI. So I started YouTube 3 years ago. Last week, I was on a team that did YouTube and basically tried to implement some of the same strategies and go at it. I started out with a cell phone. Didn't know what I was doing. I was super shaky, hated being on video, but I knew it worked. So I was determined to make it work. Never missed a week as far as putting a video out in 3 years. I did up to 3 in a week for a little while until I figured out that wasn't necessary. And then as soon as that first year, I closed a handful of deals, just enough to pay a videographer. So I used that money to pay a videographer. Reason why I did that is because Dallas is pretty saturated. We got lots of YouTube channels out here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competition, and I wanted to do anything and everything I could to stand out. And that meant having some better, higher quality videos. So that's what I ended up doing, and then kind of escalated from there. Sold around 16, 18 second year, and then this last year sold 45 homes through the channel. And then also over a dozen referrals, so just over 30 million in sales in the slowest market we've had in 2 decades. So it's definitely been a blessing. It's insane how well it works, even even in a slow market. But yeah, that's kind of my spiel.
I love it too. How did you fall into doing so? Sean said that she
Oh
found
yeah,
out her niche was what it was. Chase said,
yeah,
I got tired of doing videos about, how to clean your cabinets.
for
I'm
sure.
just kidding, Chase.
Yeah,
What made you fall into the line that you did?
yeah. So I transitioned from the pros and cons, kind of telling everybody about the city and doing some blog tours to straight up new construction. I do new construction, but I also talk about the location, where it's around, the amenities, tax rates. So I give everything in one video. But it's new construction is easy to film, and the biggest reason why I switched to new construction, besides it being pretty and show well on video, rates went up so drastically, and that took a ton of buyers out of the market. So here in the Dallas area, I'm sure it's like that in many areas. People are buying down interest rates, and you can get first-time home buyers as well as second-time home buyers some great deals with the incentives. So new construction here is on fire. There's so much land. There's so much building going on. I will never run out of content. So it was just a perfect spot for me, and it's worked out really well. So I would say 90+% of my clients are all new construction clients. I probably write maybe 2 or 3, 4 offers a year, so which is kind of crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm I was kind of late getting on and everybody's like looking at me like, God, Jeremy, you put this thing on. I'm literally writing an offer for a client in my neighborhood that moved to my neighborhood. Um, well, we kind of moved in at separate times, right? But they bought a house here and I met him at the community center. They're like, oh my God, Jeremy Knight, we didn't use you to buy our house. I'm so upset. We should have used you, blah, blah, blah. I literally just wrote an offer for them to buy a house in our neighborhood again, and they're going to be listing their house with me,
That's awesome.
all from the YouTube channel. So, yeah. Okay, Raj, you have only done new construction. Your only sales have been new construction. We've heard your story on the channel. In fact, Preston, we've heard your story. Sean, we've heard your story on the channel. Just a 30,000 foot overview of what got you into YouTube, and then I'm going to get right into some good questions.
Yeah, I got into YouTube because here in Austin, Texas, Jeremy was dominating YouTube. I saw Jeremy's channel when he was under 1,000 subscribers. I had no interest in being a real estate agent, but when I saw how much trust that was being built with a YouTuber from a consumer standpoint, my wife and I were looking at houses back in 2019, and I was looking at Jeremy's channel thinking, I would reach out to this guy if I wanted to buy a house. That's incredible. And then I looked around, there weren't that many people into YouTube at that time. Felt like the market was untapped, started studying for the real estate exams right away. Now, I'm not as creative as Jeremy. I don't think I'm as funny either. So I'm more calculating of a personality. I started doing faceless home tours in 2021 and scaled my real estate business to about $20 million in sales. And so now I'm just focused on building up YouTube channels and generating leads for other realtors.
Love it. I love it. All right. So everybody that's on this call, if you had one question to ask a YouTuber that was getting his mounted business, and oh, by the way, Raj, you don't sell yourself short. Also an elite agent as well. So meaning you're crushing it. The only person we got to get going right now with on the elite is Preston. Come on, P. You're almost there, buddy.
I joined in February, so
And you're not an elite yet? Come on, buddy.
come on. Slow start though, for sure.
Okay, awesome. So Alina says, I am in an area that doesn't have many new construction projects. What are the best videos? I love this question. Chase has his hands up. Go for it, Chase.
Tap me in for this. Yeah. So to give a little more context to the Woodlands, Texas does not have any new construction. It's been built out for almost a decade now. And so I have to go outside of my area if I want to come up with new construction content. So I make a lot of my videos about, they feel a little vloggy, kind of more lifestyle like. We're not touring as many homes inside of them, although I will sometimes do, here's what you can get in Indian Springs, which is like one of our villages, for 300, 600, and $1 million, right? Or 600, $1 million, 2 million. I will talk about the similar topics, the tax rate, the schools. We'll do, lots of people will do new construction community tours. I'll do a village or like this, larger neighborhood video tour and give the same details. How close is it to the grocery store? People want to see what their next destination is going to look like. What are the sidewalks like? How close are they to the park? So we have 9 villages. Those are 9 different topics. You've got one video talk about all of them, and then you can break all the small ones down. You could just talk about taxes. You could just talk about insurance. Houston has a issue with flooding. We don't flood really in the Woodlands. So it's kind of a misconceptions video, things I don't like about our area. I end up using a lot of, honestly, I use ChatGPT for quite a bit of my content. Jeremy, I did steal that 2025 predictions video idea from you. So
Go
yeah,
ahead.
and for
Steal
me,
away.
I do a blend of still listing tours because I want people to see what a $800,000 home looks like in the Woodlands. What I will do is that video will be live for the duration of the listing on the MLS, and then I will eventually rebrand it to be just like tour a home in Cochran's Crossing, right? So it has a little
I
bit
love it.
longer tail. So I hope that kind of answers it a little bit. And again, real fast, my goal, I think an important question to ask yourself whenever you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel or in the process of it is, what do you want from it? Like what is your end result, hopefully? I do not want to build a large team. I want to be known as the YouTube guy in my area of 100,000 people, which is still a large, population. I'd much rather go way deeper than wider and try to cover all of Houston because there's plenty of that. I wanted to be the mayor of the Woodlands on YouTube without making that kind of classic mayor content. Real questions that people are asking or conversations that you're having with people that are relocating. Those are great. That's a great, first 5 topics to make videos about, or just what questions are you asking?
All right, I love that. It's great. What's great is we have all walks of life on here that can answer this question. Sean likes to drive. She's a glutton for punishment. She needs a helicopter. She likes to do 55 and plus communities in Phoenix and then drive all the way down 90 minutes down to Tucson, which is crazy to me. She needs a helicopter, I swear.
Oh,
We gotta
it's
get
not
you
90
that.
minutes. It's 2.5 hours from my house one way.
Oh yeah, because you're up in Scottsdale, right?
Yeah, I'm far. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do need a helicopter. And
Yeah.
Chase can be my pilot. You need to
Let's do it.
from fixed wing to helicopter.
Rotary.
Here's a question I always get, and maybe this isn't a question that somebody's going to ask in this, but here's a question I always get. It's how do I get leads from YouTube? I want to start with you, Sean, and we'll go down the line. Sean, Chase, Preston, Raj. How do you actually get leads from YouTube? Because I know Fowler Power over there asks me that question all the time. So how do you actually get leads from YouTube?
For me, it just started happening. I didn't have to try to get anything. You create good content that the audience wants. You do need a little bit of call to action in your videos. You don't want to start every video with, and if you look at my early videos, I did it and it was stupid, especially since I'm not even at that company anymore. I no longer introduce myself in a video. I just talk about whatever the content is. People don't care who I am, but after they start watching, they think we're friends. There's a strange neurological connection, especially because my audience is a little older. They watch on TV. Almost everybody that watches me on a TV, which is kind of freaky when people say, every night before we go to bed, I say to him, do you want to watch a little Sean? And that is weird. Old people, and they were in another country, and I love this couple, but they're sitting in Poland watching me in bed every single night, probably still after they bought their house. I don't know. But after a while, what do you do when you're friends with somebody? You call them up. And so I do include my email at the end of the video and my phone number. I figure anybody who stayed that long likes me. If they jump off in the first 30 seconds, they're not my people. If they jump off halfway through, they're not my people. I want the people who stay all the way to the end, and then they just call me up. And I put them into, my CRM, and we have a Zoom, and then they book a date to come for their house hunting. It's a little different because all of mine is relocation. There's no local business, but I have not had trouble getting leads from day one. I had my first call, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 videos in. So it didn't take very long, and just random people would call me up, and I was a little nobody in YouTube land, but somehow because I'm on their TV, they think I'm somebody, and I'm famous as well as their friend.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, do the rest of you have that where people think you're famous? Except for Raj, because people don't see his face. But Raj, do people stop you as well? Did we lose Raj?
He might be muted.
I don't even see him on here anymore. He got tired of Chase, probably what it was. Preston, do people stop you and say like, hey, you're that famous YouTube guy?
Yeah, sometimes it kind of sucks sometimes because somebody will reach out to you like, hey, you probably don't have enough time to work with me, blah, blah, blah. I get that every once in a while. And then, yeah, when I'm out filming video tours, a lot of times there's people looking at houses and they say, hey, I love your videos. And I'm like, my first question is, unfortunately, why didn't you give me a shout? I'm just trying to figure, you know what I mean? It's like,
I've had
dang,
that.
I've been looking at, the other day I was at a $2.5 million luxury home that I was filming for Huntington. And yeah, this guy was like, yeah, I bought one of these houses. I love your videos. And I was like, oh man, that kind of hurts. And I usually ask for feedback when they say that, but I also I ate at a restaurant in a small town where I live or close to where I live, and I ended up selling an $800,000 new construction home to those people. 4 or 5 months later, they literally just came up to me and my wife and kids while we were having lunch after church on a Sunday. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. What's your tip for getting leads?
Yeah, so I kind of did the same thing in the beginning. I'd always be like, I'm this guy from this play, you know what I mean? And people don't care. They click right off your video. So you have to provide value before you ask for a favor in return, which is call to action, right? So I about mid video will usually just do a quick spiel. Most of the time I don't even say my name. I'm just like, if you have any thoughts of moving to Dallas tomorrow or a year from now, don't be shy. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'd love to help you and your family make a smooth move to Dallas or something similar to that, real quick. Because the attention spans are real low, right? We if we're bored or if somebody starts just talking off on the side, people click off. So I do it really fast. I started implementing about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, putting my email and phone number on the screen. I used to be against that because I figured what happens if I wanted to sell the channel someday or something, but it is a CRM number. So I can give it to somebody else if I needed to. And then my email is my own personal, ilovenorthdallas.com. So yeah, I started doing that. I think it helps a little bit just because people stop it and, write it down. And I feel like I got a little uptick in calls once I did that. The next thing I want to implement is putting a QR code on there. I'm seeing a lot of people do that here as of recent. Yeah. And I looked at my analytics and I think it's 78% of the people who watch my channel watch on TV. So I've heard really good things about doing a QR code. So I've just been too lazy to get it done and put it on there, but I definitely need to.
Let me
there's
hop
a
in
spot
real quick.
on your,
go
ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to talk about basically exactly that. Can I share my screen real quick, Jeremy?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, we're going to do this.
I started implementing that too. My little, instead of the logo at the bottom I put in the QR code to the website. Yeah.
So here's mine. This is basically my kind of call to action about this one's pretty far into the video. You can see here. I like about 60% typically. I myself also started by within the first 30 seconds. My name's Chase. I'm with the Giles real estate team, blah, blah, blah. It's like, forget that. Don't do that. Like wait till, again, you've got to build the trust till they feel you have to earn their business, right? And so hook them get them to watch more, at least a minute of your video, and they'll stick around longer. So this is basically, my videographer puts this on every video, the same exact thing. This QR code here, again, like the analytics show that people are watching on their TVs. So my kind of pitch is, hey, real quick, sorry to interrupt the video, but the reason we make these videos is so that I can be your real estate agent if you want to move here. I said, if you're watching this on the screen and you do want to move here, or if you're watching this on TV, you can scan this QR code right here, or down below, you'll see the link. So this link here, and if it's showing my mouse, I'm not sure, and the QR code go to the same page, and they also can phone number and email. Honestly, people end up doing the form most commonly. Some people just call me straight up, or they'll send us that info email right there. So that's how I do it. And then to switch screens to go to this one, this is where it takes them. So a fun kind of personality pick. That's a great part of YouTube, is they can get to know you. And so I think if you can continue to if you're happy on camera, but you're more blunt in person, they may not link up as much. So I like to have fun. And then it's a simple thing here: name, phone number, email. Are you looking to buy, sell? What's your timeline, price point? Have you visited? Phone number. And then people will type a decent amount of stuff in here on this. And so this is just in a landing page on our website, right? And that sends me an email, and I will either call them, but I personally respond back to that. It's not a automated kind of, they get a genuine interaction with me, and we set up a time like a Google Meet phone call. But I ask for it, right? Closed mouths don't get fed. So ask for it. It's going to feel clunky and take some time, but it's important, I think, to ask for it, not draw it out too long.
If you found value in that, drop a 1 in the comments. I just want to make sure you're all alive too. So I do the same thing with the QR code, takes them to a landing page. One thing we've done, and this is what Preston was talking about, was we use CallRail now. And so Sean, I'm sure you get this, right? If you have your phone number on there, people call you and they want to take up, maybe they just want to take up a bunch of your time and like talk to a YouTube star, right? So what we did is we put a phone number that's directly, when they call, it says from CallRail, it says this is a YouTube lead. And so like, oh, hey, you called from YouTube. And then that way, if it goes to voicemail, then I can listen to their voicemail and decide if I'm going to call them back, see if they're crazy stalker or not.
Yeah. That's the one thing I'm still trying to figure out. If anybody can probably provide value to that, is I stopped answering the phone. So used to, is like speed to lead, I'm going to answer every call. But with what we do, we end up, most of the time, people, if they're serious, they want to talk on the phone. And even if they're not serious, they want to talk on the phone with you for 30, 45 minutes. And if you're in the middle of a drive or doing other things, that ends up costing you a lot of time. It messes up kind of your schedule of your day. So I usually let it go to voicemail, or and then I get a text. And if they don't leave a voicemail or text you, they're usually not a serious lead, is what I figured out 9 times out of 10. But I don't know if anybody has any feedback on that, but that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
I funnel everybody. I have a Ring phone number from that, whatever it's called, Ring phone service.
Ring Central?
Ring Central, yeah. And everything goes to my ISA in the Philippines. I do not answer the phone anymore for the same reasons you said, Preston. My gut as a realtor is speed to lead. Get that call, get the call. But what I found is, people will be watching me on TV. They think we're friends. They'll call me on a Sunday, and I don't know how to not talk to them. And then I don't follow up. They're not committed. And I just burned an hour of my Sunday when I could have been, doing something for myself.
Yeah.
And so I want every call now to go through that number to the ISA. And if they're not willing to book a 30-minute call, or my preference is a Zoom, then I don't have to talk to them. I no longer give my time. And my ideal avatar, I mean, I've drilled this down, are people who book a Zoom. It's a husband and a wife who both appear on the Zoom. If one of them I can see in the background going around disinterested, they're not going to be my client. The people I want to focus on are a husband and wife in front of their camera trying to figure out, how does this thing work? We watch all your videos and they're together. So they are deciding together to make this move. And that is my avatar. That is who gets a gold star, and I'm really going to focus on. I love all these people that call me, but I cannot be focusing on somebody who is never, ever going to make a move. And they just want to talk to a friend because they're lonely on a Sunday afternoon. I cannot do that anymore. It's just too much. And so I funnel everything to Julie in the Philippines, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I
could
guess
not agree more.
I was
Go
going
ahead.
to say my biggest issue probably is that I have my personal CRM number all over my YouTube channel, in every comment section. So I wouldn't know how to filter that to an ISA and then get my actual
Get it.
clients' calls as
Get
well.
a new number. Just
I
get a
know
new number, and
that's
all the
tough.
new videos can, or do a call forwarding. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or just get a different number for yourself and use that CRM number and figure out a way to get your ISA a login, or get them a Google Voice number that they can log into, and see if you can forward that CRM number to the ISA.
Yeah.
The key is don't take calls.
I
I
100% agree.
I'm going to give some differing advice here,
I like it.
but where it's going to root in is basically, as you start doing this, kind of same thing, like figuring out your avatar, figure out which method you want them to communicate you with and stick with that, right? Thinking back now 2 years, and it may change inevitably, but if you want email and that's it, then only do email and create a specific email that you want them to go to. I like the phone calls. Maybe it's just I need more friends, but I'm also good about telling people, hey, honestly, people are very impressed that I answer. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm talking to Chase on the phone. I get that
Yeah.
quite a bit. But I will tell them, hey, I am in the car right now, or I'm about to go to family dinner or whatever it might be. Please send me a text message with your name and your email address, or just send us an email or fill out the form. I've told them to do all of it, and I will
Yeah.
be in touch on Monday and follow up. And so for me, that's been the balance of they get me. Again, I'm like very focused, so I'm not trying to go all over Houston. It's like it's close, but I want them to connect with me and not bounce to the next YouTube person. But hopefully there's that depth of relationship there. But I probably should at this point look at this far in my business, maybe look at getting one of those phone call management things. But I think you can find a balance, not putting too many barriers in front of you getting started. Right.
Yeah. I think, so I want to get to Raj here because I feel like he fell off a cliff and I don't see him on my front row anymore. So I want to get him back in the front row. But I think it's really, really important to take what each one of these people has said. At the beginning, you can take phone calls, but you are going to get extremely burnt out. Sean saying she's getting burnt out for people calling, waste your time. Preston saying Chase loves to talk to people, right? We're going to hear from Raj in a second. I was getting so burnt out on random phone calls. So burnt out on random phone call. I literally remember walking around my pool that was being built, arguing with the guy about duplexes. I'm like, why the hell did you call me if you just wanted to argue with me about duplexes? And I hung up on him. But Raj, how does it work for you, buddy?
Sure. And everybody can hear me, right?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm actually at a wedding in Houston, Chase, so I'm in your backyard. And then Preston, I'll be in Dallas next week. So I'm doing some traveling here. I think the original question was, how do we get people to reach out to us, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's two big nuggets that I'm going to give you. The first one I got from Jeremy. You have to connect with people emotionally, right? That isn't showing a home and showing the kitchen backsplash or the countertops or the flooring or the material object. The best part about real estate is it's the biggest emotional purchase people are going to make in their life. And so I think you have to attach the emotions to some of these things that people are buying into. For example, in my videos, it's been working really well, and it's because I'm vulnerable and I'm kind of like pouring my heart out sometimes in these home tours. Is when I talk about the second bedroom downstairs in a 2-story plan, I talk about parents staying on the first floor, elderly parents that you don't want going up and down the steps. And then I talk about how my dad is 78 years old, healthy as a clam, traveling the world. Love that my dad's enjoying retirement. But one day, my dad, terrifying thought, he may not go up and down the steps. And I want to have a 2-story plan that's a forever home that I want my dad to be able to stay on the first floor with me, and my mom. She's healthy as a clam as well. But anyway, I'm saying this in my videos to relate to people. Who am I relating to? I'm relating to millennials who are in that sandwich generation, who have young kids. They got elderly parents. I'm talking about the pressure of that, having young kids, having parents you want to take care of too. I'm talking about so many things in these faceless home tours that you would think have nothing to do with the house, but I'm trying to relate it even just marginally a little bit. And I'm really trying to tap into the emotions. Other ways I do that is I talk about the weather. I talk about the bugs here in Texas compared to maybe moving here from Pennsylvania. I talk about so many things that don't really have anything to do with the house, but are things that people are talking about. And I think when you relate to them, they reach out to you. The second thing that I can tell you is much quicker is you have to ask yourself, what's the next step that people want to hear about? Okay. In my field, I do a ton of new construction. And so I tour different homes that you can build on various lots. So when people see this beautiful home that they're touring, the next question that's coming out of their mouth is, well, what lots can I build this home on? And in Austin, we have these beautiful rolling hills. So you can get like a hillside view. You can get a view that looks out for miles. And for that reason, what I tell people is I have lots that I've toured and I'm touring every week. And if you want those videos, you want access to what lots you can build in Austin, reach out to me. And then one caveat to that is Preston was on Agent Tactics a few weeks ago and he gave gold. I didn't look at how my audience was watching my videos. I assumed it was majority mobile, but I hadn't looked at it for like 2 to 3 years. 67% of my audience watches me on TV. And that's why you get the calls like, oh my God, I can't believe I got Raj on the phone, or I can't believe I got Chase or Sean or Preston. It's because people are watching a movie and then they're watching your YouTube channel and you're on TV, just like an actor or an actress, right? And so when people reach out to you, it's like that celebrity figure. The point is now I'm going to be doing a QR code similar to Chase, and I'm going to have it go to a landing page, and then I'm going to do a weekly newsletter of lots that people can build on. I'm going to test it. I feel like it's really going to work, but right now it's working with a lot of people texting me using the number in the description of the video.
You know, it's smart about what he does. Sorry, he being Raj. And thank you for chiming in from a wedding in Houston. I'm sorry you had to go to Houston. Um, man, I totally lost my train of thought now because I had to throw a Houston joke in there. No, but what you do that's really impressive is that you tell a story, right? And it's the story that you tell and you're not even on camera. And that's the story that it hooks people in, right? Okay, we got other questions in here. Jennifer Fowler said we do that too. Rachel asked if you ever charge for your calls for people. I have not. I heavily considered it at one point. Anybody charge?
No,
Oh.
I'd like to, but
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I don't. And in fact, now I give them a gift after every call. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Little sweet
Oh,
treat.
you're big, way better than me.
Let's move into content because each one of you have a different content strategy. Hold on, let me ask a question in the chat. If you want to hear how these people come up with content is the next question, drop a 1. If you have a different question you want me to ask, drop a comment in the chat. Okay, Frank. Okay. All right. Content. All right. So I do a very newsy style content, right? Where I'm usually on location or I'm in my office and I do mine a certain way. So I've been on here and told you, so you can come on to my next one. I'll tell you mine. But Sean, how do you come up with your content? Chase, how do you come up with your content? Preston, and obviously Raj, I really love how you came up with your content. And if you want, Sean and I did a video a while ago. If you want it, I can put the Stan Store link in the comments and you can grab hers, Preston's, and Raj's. Chase is the only one who hasn't had a full hour on here yet, but I'll put that in the comment section. Sean, how do you come up with your content?
Well, again, started with the pros and cons of ABC Neighborhood and morphed into showcasing communities my people are 55 plus, and they're looking at Florida, they're looking at Texas, they're looking at South Carolina and Arizona. And so I want to show them beautiful drone shots and things of the communities. So I like to do that, as well as throw in some model home tours. And then depending on what my business flow is, you know, if I get a bunch of new construction in my pipeline and I need deals now where I need to get paid, then I'll pivot the content a little bit and talk about more resale neighborhoods, because that will make the phone ring with a buyer that just wants to buy an existing home. And, you know, we can sell a home quickly that way. And so I do that. And then I just think of ideas, and I do a lot of recon research on other channels, not just 55 plus, but all kinds of channels on YouTube, to come up with ideas that might work for my market and for my channel.
I love that. I mean, obviously you live in it, right? You're hearing what people are asking you. I think this is really, really big. If you don't know where to start, go to Facebook and just ask a few simple questions to your people, right? If you had to move back to my area, what would you want to know? If you had to sell a home in my area, what would you want to know? Ask those questions on Facebook and you'll get the answers if you don't already know. Chase, how are you coming up with your content?
Awesome. Kind of three pillars. So I feel like my chat GPT knows me and knows the demo, like, you know, I ask it questions. What are the top 10 questions that people want to know when moving to the Woodlands, Texas? There's some great videos for you to start refining. The second one, like I said, is what are conversations that I'm having with buyers that are moving here, that are unique to my area? I think it's important when you're thinking about content to put your own desires aside. Nobody wants to watch the content about the local coffee shop and the pizza place and interview that owner. They may want to see it quickly, you walking by it, love this spot here in town, but you need to answer the questions that they really have. And the third one, well, maybe I'll try to give four. One that Jeremy and I talked about at Elite Retreat was call your database. Right? Call your database and ask them. It's a great way to touch your database, maybe get those birthdays you need to get updated, and call them and say, hey, I'm really trying to dive into YouTube to make content about the Woodlands, Texas, or Austin. What are some questions or what are some things you wish you knew before you moved here? Right? And there you go. It's a great way for them to give you direct feedback about their homeowners association or something like that, right? Homestead exemption. And then my last one was other agents' YouTube channels, but not in your area. That's kind of the key thing, I think, is if you end up watching other agents' YouTube channels in your area, you'll end up starting to sound like them and say similar things that they may say. And so I can go watch stuff in San Diego, in Canada, and in Pennsylvania, and I can get thumbnail ideas and title ideas and kind of shot ideas, but, you know, tweak it for my local area.
Preston, what about you, buddy? Again, you're muted.
Unmute. No, I'm good. I'm good. Just giving him his floor. But yeah, I started out doing just about everything because I had a low budget and I didn't really know how to do new home tours. So I did the pros and cons. I did the neighborhood vlogs. I did all that. And then I slowly transitioned into just new construction. And the biggest reason for me is that I was a busy agent, right? I was by myself. And I'm not somebody who can sit down and write a script and do all that stuff. That is, first of all, I'm not good at it. And second of all, I hate it, right? If you're going to stick with a content strategy, it's got to be something that you can do long-term and not be miserable doing it, right? Because you want to enjoy what you do. So I would say that's a big part of it. And I love new construction. I love walking new home tours. So for me, I literally just, I'm in the Dallas area, so there's new construction everywhere. So I literally look basically the night before and say, hey, what area have I not hit lately? What area am I getting tons of calls from lately? Where is the newest neighborhood? So those are all factors that come into play. And also look up other YouTubers in my area and see what videos are performing. And so those are all factors that I put in, and I usually just text my video guy the night before. We usually meet on a Tuesday at 10:30. Reason being is Tuesdays are very, very slow days at model homes. So you don't really want to be in there with a bunch of people. And I just show up and kind of freestyle. I know that's not everybody's thing, but for me, it's kind of become second nature, and it's something that you learn over time. I literally look up what's the highest priced home, the lowest priced home, and then the information on the two models. So I'm very broad, but I also still give relevant information. And I always say, hey, this is the price as of the making of this video. But yeah, I give an introduction. I walk through the home. I give some price information, some neighborhood info. I walk through the second home, and then I give a conclusion about the area, what's surrounding it. And then I do a little, a last little call to action, and I point to my next video that might be relevant to the one I just did. So that's been the easiest for me. The reason why I love it is because it takes so little time for me to do it. Whereas, like Jeremy, when I see you do your videos and stuff, I'll tell you, that just blows over my head. I could never do that stuff. Analytics and economic stuff, and yeah, that stuff is just, to me, it's boring. To do myself, to watch it, I enjoy it, but I'm not good at it. So, that's why I do the new construction. It takes the least amount of time for me. I spend probably, with driving, videoing, and researching what I'm going to do, I'd say 3 hours a week total. And my channel's never done better.
I love it. Raj, I'm not going to let you answer this one because we actually did a full video. In fact, I put the link right there. It says Raj, I posted it. He's got a really, really good plan on how he does this content. And I feel like watching it would help more. I want to get to a couple of these questions instead, if that's okay, Raj.
Yes.
And I'll start with you on this question. I got 3 questions I want to get to. Frank's question, which is, how would you start again? I want everybody to think about that one real quick. And I want to get to the batching question second. And then I want to start with this organic versus paid. I want to start with you, Raj, and let's just try to get rapid fire on these.
Yeah.
YouTube, paid ads versus organic.
So in my opinion, you got to start organic. If you just start paying to play, you will keep having to pay to play. And I think when you learn organic growth, you really learn how to connect with your audience. And that is social media at its best, is when you're connecting with an audience. I think once you have that organic growth, then you can pay to play, and you're just adding fuel to the fire.
Awesome. I'm just going to let you answer that one because I think everybody else is going to reiterate the same thing. I wasted so much money on ads. That's why I don't do ads. Unless you're very strategic and have a very strategic plan, I don't recommend doing ads. Jennifer says, Preston, I'll let you answer this one. How often are you all shooting video and batching? What do you got?
I used to do 2-3 a week when I was trying to get my channel up and going. And then that's something that I couldn't keep up with, especially with the additional lead flow. So I've done 1 a week for about 1.5 years, and it's worked really well. I've never missed a week. And the way I do that is I'm always usually at least 3 weeks ahead on filming. That way, if somebody's going to get sick, things happen with family, vacations, all of that stuff. And that allows me to not have to worry about that stuff because I'm always a little bit ahead. But yeah, once a week on Tuesday, if the weather's nice, that's what I do.
Yeah, I batch content as well. Every Tuesday I shoot all my short content, my long form content. I know Sean shoots once a week. Everybody in here shoots probably once a week, or they batch content at least once a week. Sean, I want to ask you this question. Oh man, I had a question I wanted to ask you. Videographer question. This is a good question to ask you because you have a videographer. Do you hire a videographer, an editor, or are you doing it yourself?
Well, when I started, my videographer was the digital marketing guy in my office. And so I didn't have any money for, budget. I had an iPhone and a ring light, and that was it. And so I knew I wanted some pretty drone shots. So I paid him about $300 a pop every time I needed drone shots, and started developing a content bank from those drone shots, and the rest was just a talking head video. So very low budget. You can do it without drone shots, depending on what kind of stuff you're doing. But I didn't have an editor. I learned to edit myself. I used WeVideo, and I'm pretty proud of that because I was 59 years old when I started. And if I could figure it out, everybody can figure it out. You just have to be willing to put in the time. And if you get stuck, what do? You go to YouTube and you type in how to add my phone number to a video. And there'll be a video about how to do those graphics on Canva and put them into your video. You can figure it out. And then when you get bigger and busier and you have more budget, you can find little dudes to do it. And so now I've got an editing team that handles things for me, and I have a full-time videographer that it gets paid very nicely. But we didn't start that way. So don't be intimidated by your lack of budget or lack of skills. If you really want to do this, you probably have time to figure it out. I had all the time in the world because I had no business. I was pretty driven. I was broke. And so I had to figure it out. Hunger's a motivator. And so I just dug in, and bit by bit, if you look at my first videos, it's pretty embarrassing now, but first of all, that style was cool back then, and I had to start somewhere, but people still liked me and all my corny goofiness. So, the audience doesn't care. They obviously like your nicer content, after a few years, but people were calling me early on when I didn't have any style. So don't be intimidated by that.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Go ahead, Preston. But man, I love that.
Yeah, I see.
People are so worried about how they look and all that bull crap. Go ahead, P.
Yeah, I was just kind of on the same page. I didn't have any money when I started, and same driving motivator. My wife was a teacher, and now she stays home with our kids. I was a firefighter, and I left after being miserable in an ambulance during COVID. So we had no money. So you talk about a motivator, right? So I went all in, and I knew it works. So I just used a selfie stick with my cell phone when I started doing vlog tours. That cost me nothing, right? I hired a company called Ocean Click. If you want to look that up, I don't get paid to give them your info, so don't worry about that. I think I paid a couple $100 a month at the time. It's been a few years now, but that was for the entire month, and they did all the editing and my thumbnails. So that took away hours and hours of trying to learn how to edit and everything for a few $100. So that's just, and then I know a bunch of other people here in the local market have used a company called just Fiverr and just found people on Fiverr. But yeah, with Ocean Click, you get an editor out in the Philippines, and if they don't work out, they'll give you another person that's, maybe fit a little bit better. But that's what I did. And then once I started closing some deals from the channel, this is a business, right? A lot of people don't treat it like a business. They make your commission and they spend it, right? I made sure to set money aside and said, hey, I'm going to invest this money into the channel. And then when I had a couple of big commissions, I was like, okay, now I have enough money to hire a videographer for the next 3-4 months, right? And that's where I started that. But yeah, none of us start off with big budgets and all this stuff. You just have to start somewhere and keep going. And sometimes I'll tell you, I was out there shaking, scared to death, and felt like I was wasting my time, right? You go months without a call. Felt like what am I doing this for? Right? This is terrible. But you just got to keep going and it'll work out. But that's how I started, and that's how most people are going to start.
If this is a good question. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I hate to cut you off. I'm looking at time, trying to keep us rolling here.
No, I'm done.
So one question I have, and I think Frank asked this question eloquently. And this goes into everything we've talked about, and I'll get to some of the other ones. If you had to restart your YouTube channel, right? You had to start all over. Let's say you move markets and you had to start fresh again. What would you do for budget, and what would you do for content? I'm just curious. Start with you, Raj.
Yeah, I saw that question, Frank. So I'm starting 9 YouTube channels. So keep in touch with me. I'm going to give you insight on how I'm doing this. But what I've learned from teaching YouTube along with Jeremy for people here in Austin back in 2024 is the YouTube channels that have completely taken off is they find an untapped market that nobody is speaking to, right? And that still exists here in 2025. Excuse me, Chase mentioned it earlier that don't do what other YouTubers are doing, right? Everybody in my market followed Jeremy and they just do exactly what Jeremy does. They just redo all his most popular videos. I just do the complete opposite. So I have an example of a realtor here in Austin where he went into the outskirts and toured acre plus lots. And then he went 5 acre and 10 acre. And now all his home tours are 1 acre to 10 plus acres. And his channel's taken off. He toured homes with a $2 million buyer. Yesterday, he got like 3 $1 million buyers. His channel is completely taken off. He got 60,000 views in the last month. He's good at what he did. He implemented really great tactics that Jeremy and I were telling him, but he was in an untapped market. And kind of going to Dee's question, how long did it take for your channels to take off? It depends on the untapped market. When you're in an untapped market, I think it can be as fast as like 3 to 6 months. And then you start to see leads really pick up in that 6 to 12 month mark. If you're not in an untapped market and you're in a busy space, it could take like around 6 to 18 months. Just depends on how fast you can implement these tactics.
I love it. I love it. Man, I wanted to get some channel reviews done, but we're already at the hour.
A quick good place to kind of find a videographer or find that next first person after you've done it yourself. And doing it yourself is fine. My caveat with that, because the iPhone's amazing, is get good audio, right? I think that will help you shine. At least invest in a good Bluetooth microphone or a, Rode Video Go or the DJI thing. I think that's worth the $250 to really, if you're gonna edit yourself, that would be a good place to start. Ask your photographer. More than likely, maybe they want to pick up something on the side. Again, if you're using my third pillar of how to create content, as you're talking to your clients, maybe ask them, do you know somebody that does video editing? Somebody at church. Most all my people that I've hired are church people that want a side gig, right? They're in the media space. Maybe one of your clients' kids knows something. And again, that's just the first, maybe second good step to take.
Awesome. Well, look, I hate to cut us short and not get to the channel reviews. I apologize for that. I really wanted to hear from each one of these people because they've all done a really amazing job. For all my Phoenix people, Sean and I will be there next week. I would find Sean, Chase, Preston, and Raj on maybe Instagram. DM them what other questions you may have. Again, I wanted to give you a spread of people that were doing things differently. Sean does definitely different content than Chase does. Chase does totally different content than Preston. Preston does totally different content than Raj. We all do things differently. I want to be able to show you it's not one way that gets business, because everybody on here, except for Preston's on his way, is either about to hit a production goal at our brokerage that's pays you a lot of money. And so it shows you, and I bring that up to show you that these tactics work and they put money in the bank account. I think what's really, really important about when we're creating content is, does the content put money in my bank account? Will it put money in my bank account? If you think it does, then absolutely go after it. And I think that's what Raj was saying too. If you find the market, because I mean, who else would love to take a $2 million buyer around to go look at really cool big properties? I mean, I would. I wish I would have done that content. Thanks, Raj. All right, everybody, please do me a favor. Reach out to each one of them. Thank them personally for taking the time. Also, Stan Store, I gave you the Stan Store. I'll try to get this video replay out tomorrow. I love you all. We'll see you soon.